Most people assume all police departments have had body cameras for at least 10 years by now, but that's actually not really the case. In fact, even though about 80% of police departments across America had body cameras by 2016, a few departments in my area of Tampa Bay did not. And the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, which is the county of Clearwater and St. Petersburg, they didn't obtain body cameras until relatively recently. So this is the sheriff of Pinellas County, Sheriff Bob Gualtieri. While he's no Grady Judd as far as the limelight and widespread notoriety, he's done a fine job as far as I'm concerned. He's been our sheriff since 2011. He was appointed by Rick Scott after our previous sheriff stepped down for personal reasons. And I figured the reason our sheriff's department was late to the party for body cameras was due to budgeting reasons or something financially related. However, I wasn't aware that the sheriff actually had a negative stance toward police body cameras in general. So right here in this section of Wikipedia, policy positions for body cameras, although the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office uses dash cams in most of their vehicles, Gualtieri opposes the implementation of a body camera program in Pinellas. As of 2019, there are 24 Florida sheriff's offices that regulate body cameras. So there obviously was quite a number of departments around the state that still didn't have body cameras as of 2019. But of course, right now I'm in the year 2025, so this was about 6 years ago. But anyway, so doing a search through the Brave AI, as far as Pinellas body cameras go, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office has had a complex relationship with body cameras. Sheriff Bob Gualtieri has been a vocal opponent of body cameras, expressing concerns about privacy and the potential for misuse. So he might be taking a Fourth Amendment issue on this, which I can understand. If sheriffs are wearing body cameras and they're walking into people's private residences, I mean, I could see how that could be an unconstitutional act, which might be why he took that stance. Not 100%, at least not as of this moment. So, however, there have been developments indicating a possible shift in stance. For instance, the St. Petersburg Police Department, under Chief Tony Holloway, has moved forward with body cameras with plans to equip all 450 uniformed officers if a pilot program is successful. Now, I think this information pertaining to St. Petersburg is also relatively old. I think it's like 4 years, maybe 5 years in total. So, when did police body cameras become widely used by law enforcement in general across America? So I figured I would just make a mention of this while I'm on the subject. Body cameras became widely used by law enforcement in the United States around the mid-2010s, particularly following high-profile incidents like the 2014 shooting of Michael Brown at Ferguson, Missouri. This event sparked national debates about police accountability, leading to an increased demand for body-worn cameras, or BWCs. By 2015, federal funding through programs like the U.S. Department of Justice's Body-Worn Camera Policy and Implementation Program, it provided millions of dollars in grants to agencies, accelerating the adoption. A 2016 survey by the Bureau of Justice Statistics found that about 47% of law enforcement agencies had acquired BWCs, with larger departments, those with 500-plus officers, adopting them at higher rates, around 80%. So, between 2014 and 2016, that marked the tipping point for widespread use with body cameras in general. And what's interesting is that a lot of activists, political activists, and Black Lives Matter and other organizations that are politically motivated, mainly, progressively leaning, obviously, they pushed really heavily for police body cameras once the public became aware that there were companies that had developed this technology, and they were insisting that all police officers wear them. So that way there's accountability, because they truly believe deep in their hearts that the police departments across America were fundamentally racist, and they were targeting minorities, and they were beating them and unlawfully arresting them, throwing them in jail. And they figured by them having police body cameras on, there's no way that they can possibly hide behind their actions or their words, that it would all be on camera. Well, it kind of turned out that it basically backfired in many ways. I mean, it actually turned out that a lot of these cases where people were accusing the police of roughing them up, beating them up, or unlawfully arresting them, since it's all on body camera, It turned, not every single time, but very often when they accuse the department of unlawful behavior, the body camera is pulled and they show the body camera footage, usually to the news if it's a high-profile case where BLM's getting involved or Jesse Jackson or whoever ends up getting involved. The police department will download the body camera footage, they'll review it, they'll get the clearance from the higher-ups, and they'll release it to the news, often within 24 hours, 48 hours after the incident happens, which typically when they do that, it shows that the police department was absolutely in the right the entire time. They might release the 911 call leading up to the body cam footage, which may show the suspect doing a variety of things, maybe running from the cops, maybe throwing stuff at the cops. I mean, it could be a number of different things. And I'm sure there's many different instances where police departments were accused of doing something unlawful toward a subject when, in fact, the body camera proved time and time again that it was actually the suspect who was in the wrong the entire time, and the police departments or sheriff's departments acted in the right all along. So anyway, not without going on too much of a tangent, I'll just kind of let that rest there, and I'll move on to this article from the Tampa Bay Times, which I pulled a little bit more information. I mean, this is kind of a local issue for me because I live in Pinellas County. There are 1 million people that live here, so there's a decent chance, I guess 1 in 3, roughly probably 280, 300 chance that anybody listening to this might be living here as well. But anyway, once reluctant, Pinellas Sheriff is now exploring body cameras for deputies. Now, this was published way back on August the 12th of 2020, so it's kind of old news. In fact, I figured that they were adopting the body cameras a bit more recently than that, but to be honest with you, the last few years have absolutely flown by. It's absolutely crazy how fast the 2020s are disappearing, to be honest. Anyway, so Pinellas County's largest law enforcement agency is closer than it's ever been to adopting body cameras. Sheriff Bob Gualtieri has long resisted the technology, even as law enforcement agencies across the country have embraced it as a tool for transparency, evidence gathering, and officer safety. But the sheriff said Tuesday that he's rethinking the devices sparked by changes in technology and feedback from the public. He's now researching what kind of cameras to issue to his deputies if he decides to adopt them. Quote, I'm more open to it. Quote, I'm more open now to it than I have been in the past, end quote, the sheriff said. Quote, given the options that are available and some of the concerns that are mitigated, I think it's the right thing to do to evolve and to keep an open mind, end quote. He's not yet committing to equipping deputies with body-worn cameras, but said agency leaders are talking to vendors and researching options more seriously than ever before. He still remains opposed to body cameras, which he probably still does to this day, to be honest. Well, to be frank, if anything, that record all the time. He doesn't want body cameras that record constantly. And the idea that officers must be subject to constant monitoring to be trusted. Instead, he's looking at programs that start recording when, say, an officer draws their weapon. A body camera program should primarily be used to collect evidence, Gualtieri said. At the same time, is it also used for accountability? Yes. Tampa Bay law enforcement agencies have been slow to adopt the technology. For instance, the Gulfport Police Department and Pasco County Sheriff's Office were the only agencies to use body cameras as of 2020. We've got Clearwater Police, St. Pete Police, there's Tampa Police, Pinellas Park Police. I mean, there's. I'm sure that Tarpon Springs has one. Holiday might have a police department. Largo, I actually do think that Largo has one. Plus, there's the beaches. There's Indian Rocks Beach Police. I'm sure Treasure Island probably has police. St. Pete Beach, I'm sure, has their own police department. So we've got probably well over a dozen police departments just in the Tampa Bay area alone, and just for two to have had body cameras by 2020. I mean, that kind of surprised me, to be honest with you. So let's see. All right, I already got that part. So the Clearwater City Council voted last week to adopt the technology after opting against it in 2015, the last time the department tested the technology. And it might not just be using the body cameras that they were against. It might be the high cost of using them because they have to contract with a company that makes them, and they also store the body camera footage, I'm assuming, on a website that's run by this company that they end up going with. And there's more than one. There's a few. One is like Axos or something like that. It's got to be the number one company that police departments contract with, because if you watch body camera videos, you'll see the name of the body camera company, or at least the type of body camera up in the right-hand corner, or upper right-hand corner. So anyway, the St. Petersburg Police Department spent 5 years studying body cameras but never committed to adopting them. Then in February, Police Chief Anthony Holloway told the Tampa Bay Times that he supports issuing the cameras to officers. Both Clearwater and St. Petersburg favor cameras that start recording when an officer draws their gun or taser. So only if they draw their gun or taser will it flick, it'll turn on, and it'll record for however, maybe it might, I would assume it would just keep recording continuously until you hit the button. Because who knows how long the standoff or how long, an active shooter situation could last for. So the St. Petersburg Police Chief Anthony Holloway shows the lens hole in his shirt, which this is. I don't think I've seen body cameras like this before. All the ones that I've seen, they just wear them external. They don't really try to hide them. In his shirt, where a body camera can record the action through his shirt, which was on Tuesday, June 2nd of 2020 at the St. Petersburg Police Training Center. Several officers are being trained to use the body cameras made by the company Body Worn. Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Chronister announced in June that he was seeking cameras for his deputies that would record all the time, a broader program than the agency's initial plan to purchase cameras that would activate only when a deputy unholsters their weapon. The Tampa Bay Police Department is moving forward with plans to buy 650 body cameras after the initiative was delayed by the coronavirus pandemic. Gualtieri said he's never been against recording his deputies, pointing to his agency's broad use of dashboard-mounted cameras. All 560 patrol cruisers have them, and they capture about 17,000 incidents a month. So that was my sheriff's main reason for not getting body cameras, was because they're already using dashboard cameras, which I'm sure is costing the sheriff's department X amount of money per year. It could be $1 million or something like that, because they're probably using a dashboard manager or a company to store all of that footage. I'm sure that they have employees that are maintaining all of that. I'm sure there's, let's see, 560 patrol cruisers. I mean, each patrol cruiser, let's say, runs about 10 hours worth of footage a day. I mean, that's 5,600 hours worth of footage daily. So that would be a hell of an undertaking to manage all that footage, because I'm sure that they don't just delete it if there's nothing eventful that happened. I'm sure that they store it for a minimum period of time. So the resources it would take to store and maintain video records was another concern. In 2016, Gualtieri told the Times it would cost $2 million a year to run a body camera program, and that the agency has to prioritize our resources and use them effectively where we think they're going to produce the best result. I mean, that is a lot of money. It's quite expensive. So inside his own agency, support is less widespread, according to an internal survey that 544 deputies did respond to. About 2/3 of the deputies said they would not wear a body camera if given the option to do so, while the other third said that they would. Mandatory body cameras for patrol deputies is opposed by 55% of respondents, according to the survey, while 15% said that they do support it, and 30% said that it just depends on the type of camera, while 58% preferred a system that automatically activates when a deputy unholsters their weapon. And only 4% supported a system that records all the time, which I felt was interesting to point out, because it was it the Hillsborough County Sheriff who was looking into recording constantly around the clock? I believe it was, Hillsborough County Sheriff deputies that would record all the time. Now, it wasn't the Hillsborough County Sheriffs who took that survey. It was Pinellas County Sheriffs. But still, I mean, like, we're in the same basic area. I'm sure that they would have responded similar to the guys over here. But for only 4% to be comfortable with it. Now, I know they're on the job. They're the employees. They're not the taxpayers. They're not the citizens. They're not the community. If the community wants it, I think so be it. I mean, it's their tax money. It's their community. It's their police or sheriffs. So, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they actually didn't reach out to the public, or at least Sheriff Gualtieri didn't reach out to the public and at least, get the public's opinion as to whether if they should wear it or not, rather than just making just a personal moral decision, whether if it's right or wrong. So here's one more article that I found. This is out of ABC Action News a little bit later in the year. This is October 27th of 2020. Here, I'll make this a little bigger. So deputies in Pinellas County will soon be wearing body cameras across the board. So they actually did end up going through with it and approving it October 27th, 2020. So deputies in Pinellas County will soon wear body cameras across the board. Sheriff Bob Gualtieri says new technology and overwhelming demand from the public for them encouraged the decision to purchase the devices. So evidently he did ask the public, and the public said, yes, go for it. Go for it, wear it, enjoy it. That's what we want. I mean, I think it's a good idea, to be honest. The whole recording inside somebody's private residence, I mean, yeah, I'm not too crazy about that. I mean, look, if they release the body cam footage, I mean, maybe even in a a courtroom situation, they probably would still have to blur everything out, I would think, because I mean, that would be violating their Fourth Amendment rights probably. So anyway, the quote, the community wants it. Everybody that I've talked to from across section wants it, and so that's what we should do. We should listen to the community, said Gualtieri. The lens and the range on the camera and what we capture is dramatically improved, and integration with other systems is dramatically improved. The trigger points on the camera, the automatic activation of the cameras, there's so much that's changed. About 30 deputies received the cameras Tuesday for a trial period, which isn't to decide if the department wants the cameras, but to work out any issues before handing them out to more than 800 deputies in the field. The cameras will automatically turn on when a weapon is drawn. He says right now, dash cam video and microphone packs on deputies do a good job to paint a scene more clearly with more than 17 downloads a month. So they also carry audio recorders that apparently record, maybe, I'm assuming, all the time. He says folks who want the body cameras for oversight purposes may not get everything they want from the devices. Quote, they think that these cameras are going to capture everything all the time and every minute, and they're going to have access to everything that's recorded. They're not, he said. Under Florida law, some recordings are confidential if it's captured in someone's house or a facility that offers health or mental health care or social services. Yes, there is something called the HIPAA law from, I think it was 1996, the HIPAA Act, I think it might be, and that has to do with records and patient confidentiality. And I'm sure that filming in a hospital is probably mentioned under that act, I would assume so. Quote, there's also a general provision there, or any place that anybody expects their conversations to be private. That's a very broad application. The cameras would cost about $3 million a year for 5 years, totaling about $15 million. That is a lot of money. So how many, how many deputies? They said about over 800, but I think it was in a past article, but I'll take 800. I know it's more than 800. But it's not much more. Oh, actually, I think it's 875. Let me see. So 25 million. It had to have been. I already did the calculation. So $25 million divided by 875 sheriffs, it breaks down to $28,571 per sheriff deputy over a 5-year period. That is a lot of money. I get it that they have to store it and they have to maintain it, maybe even on some sort of a cloud service or something. Yeah, there's a contract company that's doing all the technical work and everything that goes into it. But dude, that's a little crazy, especially when they're not recording constantly. They're only recording apparently whenever they draw their weapon, or unless there's a situation where they believe they should be recording and they have the ability to hit the button and start recording. But it sounds like most of the time they're not even going to be recording anything like traffic stops and stuff. It doesn't sound like that's happening here. Now, things may have changed from 2020 to now. I mean, it's been about 5 years, and over a 5-year period, they might even be considering another company because it's a 5-year contract, which would be up this year in 2025. The funding needs to be approved by the Board of Commissioners, which, spoiler alert, I believe it was. Gualtieri says all of the commissioners he has spoken with are on board and will likely ask them for funding at the end of November or beginning of December. That money would be taken from the current budget, which means the program would start right away. And finally, the last thing I have is Pinellas County deputies soon will wear body cameras. This was January 26th of 2021 from WTSP Tampa Bay, Channel 10. So Pinellas County Commissioners approved a $1 million program Tuesday evening that would provide all deputies within the county sheriff's office a body camera. The sheriff's office got the ball rolling in October when it announced a pilot program that outfitted 30 deputies with the camera. Leading manufacturer Axon was announced as the company creating the body cameras, which automatically activate when deputies drew their weapon or turned on their taser devices. They could also be manually activated by the deputies. In a letter to the county commissioner, Sheriff Bob Gualtieri said, community input and evolving industry standards compel that we equip all law enforcement deputies, which is approximately 875. So I was right. I mean, I knew I saw that somewhere else. That's why I already did the whole, calculator business. Approximately 875 deputies with body-worn cameras. Documents from Tuesday's county commission meeting reveal that the sheriff's office contracted with Axon and will cost nearly $25 million over the next 6 years. So they got a deal over 6 years. So sounds like there was some bartering going on, and it sounds like that we got a little better deal out of it than previously thought. More than $3.82 million was approved for the current fiscal year, which the agency says will equip every deputy with a body camera before March of 2020. Imagine that, dude. Like, we've got, how many counties do we have in the United States? Like 3,000 counties. Now, all counties are not as densely populated as Pinellas County. Like, most counties don't have freaking almost 900 sheriff's deputies. Most counties probably have just probably a dozen or a couple dozen. But how much money do you think that this company's making? It's got to be billions of dollars, maybe. 25 million over the next 6 years. Okay, maybe it's not billions, but it's got to be a substantial amount of money. I mean, yeah, this whole body camera business, talk about being in the right place at the right time for anybody who just, came up with that concept to roll that out, because, the technology was probably fairly easy to do. I mean, it's probably not much different than like a GoPro or something. It may have like a longer battery pack with it. That's probably why they're a little bigger and they might be a little bulkier. I'm assuming that way they can, record for, I don't even know how long, 24 hours. Not really sure, but anyway, that's the end of that article. But actually, I'm actually curious to find that out. What is it? What was the name of it? Axum or Axon? Axon. So let me just search that up real quick. So, Axon body camera, how long records? I'm just gonna keep it simple. I don't need to word it all crazy. So as it thinks, buffer of up to 2 minutes. Okay, hold on. How many hours then? Many continuous hours. Oh, wait, hold on. How many continuous hours of recording? Oh, I think it just said 18 hours, didn't it? The Axon Body 4 camera can store 18 continuous hours of footage in its memory, while the Axon Fleet 3 can store up to 24 hours. So I'm assuming the battery would last 18 hours or 24 hours. Otherwise, why, what would be the point in having all that memory available? Because I could get into the nitty gritty and read all about body cameras, how the process goes, but I'm assuming once your shift's over, you probably go into the department to, check or, clock out or what have you. And I'm assuming you set your body camera probably on like a charging device, which is probably plugged into their computer system, which probably automatically downloads it, catalogs it, stores it. I would assume that's what they would do. That would probably be the easiest way of doing it, as opposed to them downloading it themselves, or, the whole like chain of custody with footage. And, that would be my guess, that they probably just hook it up to some like cartridge type device. They just snap it in and then they leave and then they come back. And I don't know. I honestly don't know. Not really sure. I don't know a whole lot about body cameras, but I just figured I would talk about that because I did mention in a at least one or two videos that I've done already. I've done a couple of these body camera reaction videos, and I mentioned how my sheriff's department was late to the party with body cameras, and I wasn't 100% sure if they even still had them, but I thought that they just got them about a year ago, but apparently it's, according to these articles, they obviously have been wearing them for longer than just a couple of years. But yeah, they were late to the party, but eventually they gave in. So, I'm sure at this point it's probably just about every department as of now, except for maybe the ones who just honest to goodness can't afford it, living in a small rural town or something where nothing really ever happens. There's like two sheriffs or something, or there's the sheriff and the deputy, and that's it, like Andy Griffith or something. So, but anyway, that's all I got. So thanks for watching. I know it was kind of more for my information, I guess, than anybody else's, because, I know this isn't, going to be like one of the most popular videos I do. It's talking about, news articles and the local sheriffs and body cameras that happened, well, years ago at this point. But whatever, I wanted to do it, so I did it. So whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want. If not, I don't care. See you later.